If you want to learn how to be confident and be effortlessly charming, here are my top tips. I've situated myself in the very convenient social role of an introvert, and I was generally content to sit back and observe the world around me. But there's always been a part of me that wanted something more. In my mind, there lived a version of myself that made friends effortlessly everywhere she went. She was proud to show people the fluffy, fun, bubbly personality that lived underneath the hard external shell. I wanted that to be me. And then there came a day when I found myself in a land far, far away, surrounded by a room filled with strangers. My friend turned to me at the end of the party and said, "I'm so proud of you. Every time I turn around, I see you making new friends. You've been the life of the party." Tip number 1, stop calling yourself an introvert. Everyone tells a story about themselves in their mind all the time. This story is your perception of yourself and the world around you. If you're telling yourself that you're a shy person, that you have trouble making friends, that you're introverted, that you feel awkward in social situations, that will be your reality. The perception you hold of yourself now is who you will become in the future. So if you're happy to continue being an introvert and you're happy to still feel awkward in social situations, you can call yourself that. You can sit yourself in your personality box and continue life on just like that and be perfectly happy. But I imagine you're watching this video because you're hoping to become more social and you're hoping to become more confident. So you have to start off with changing this internal narrative you have about yourself in your mind. If you begin to think of yourself as someone who's eager to attend social events and as someone who effortlessly makes friends when they're out, you'll begin to see yourself that way and believe that this other version of yourself can be true. Of course, changing your internal perception is way easier said than done, and until you fully believe the new narrative you're telling about yourself, you'll very much be faking it until you make it. But we all have to start somewhere, and it is certainly better to start off pretending to be who you want to be instead of acting as the person you no longer want to be. Until you're fully embodied in a new persona, you're always gonna feel like you're faking it a little bit, but that's just part of the process, and you have to accept that this awkwardness in the beginning will pass with time as you become more embodied in the version of yourself that you want to be. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Emily, and for my day job, I work as a civil engineer. After hours, I like to bring you my favorite personal development advice to help you grow into the woman of your dreams. So grab your tea, tuck in, and let's get started. The next thing I want you guys to do is to curate your ideal character. Earlier, I mentioned characters like Serena van der Woodsen and Aileen Galathinius because they are the symbolic idea of the kind of social, charming person that I want to grow into. When I want to grow in a different way, a really helpful way to do this is by developing an alter ego that has the personality traits that you want to become. In your head, you can think, okay, tonight I'm going to embody the energy that Serena van der Woodsen has when she walks into a room. Instantly makes you feel more powerful. I think of it as acting as such instead of fake it till you make it, because an actor can completely change their persona in order to step in to a new character. There's a really great book on the topic. I'll put it up on screen. It's called The Alter Ego Effect. And this talks all about how creating a different persona that helps you feel more powerful can really allow you to elevate your performance in different arenas of life. Because I'm a nerd, if you don't know by now, I find most of my character inspiration through fantasy and books. I see characters that are so brave and powerful and determined to go out and conquer their dreams that stepping into their energy really helps me feel more empowered. But truthfully, it doesn't matter where this inspiration source comes from. You just need a really strong symbol in your head of the person that you want to be so you can channel their energy and their character when you need to step into different situations. When I feel like I need an extra boost of confidence, I imagine that I am Selena Sardathian strolling into a ballroom wearing a spectacular dress. I open the doors to the venue and I instantly feel more powerful because I know she can enchant anyone she talks to, and everyone will be talking about her long after she's left. We all wear different masks when we step out into the world, and I think you should choose the mask that you want to wear because over time we become the people we pretend to be. Okay, so my next tip is to give yourself some social proof. You have to train your nervous system through repetition and through practice that you have the capacity to be this person you want to be. And it's sometimes a lot easier to start off changing the thinking of how you interact in the world before you can change the being. I know it takes a longer time to reprogram your nervous system than it does to rethink your thoughts. Like, it takes about 5 minutes to rethink your internal thoughts, but it can take months in order for you to start actually feeling like a social butterfly after you've been training yourself repetitively through different events to prove to yourself that you can be that person. So keep in mind that changing your persona and changing your attitude takes a lot more time than just instantly saying, okay, I can be a social butterfly. It will take deliberate effort, and it will require you to consistently step out of your comfort zone. But we don't grow when we're stagnant. We grow when we expose ourselves to challenge and give ourselves the opportunity to be more than we are right now. Okay, so my next tip is smart girls ask for help. I know this whole channel is basically a personal development project, but that does not mean that you're on this journey alone. If you want to change your life, one of the fastest ways to do this is to find mentors who are already doing or being the thing that you want to grow into. If you identify as an introvert, you're probably surrounded with a bunch of friends who enjoy staying at home on the weekends, reading books, baking cupcakes, and going for walks with their dog, which is fantastic. I mean, I'm one of them, and I have plenty of friends like that. I will most certainly be keeping you. You bring a lot of joy to my life. But if you want to become a more social person, you have to start making friends with people who are already a part of the social network around you. You will never get invited to big social events if you only know people who like to stay at home and bake on the weekend. They can be a part of your social circle. I encourage it. Obviously, there's a ton of joy that can come from quieter activities. But if your goal is to turn yourself into a little socialite, you have to go meet other socialites. If you feel a little isolated right now, you may have a hard time finding people like this, but it's actually a lot easier than you think to meet people who are already engaged in your community. Odds are that you'll have to step outside of your bubble a little bit to find these people, but it's good for you to expand your community, to meet new people, to grow, and to do new activities. I definitely suggest you make the effort to step outside your normal bubble of friends and interact with other people who you don't normally on a regular basis. Some of the best ways that I've met a lot more social people is through just going to social events by myself, but I think you need to have a lot of confidence before you do something like that. So if you can find activities where there's a high likelihood of you meeting more community-oriented people, definitely go to that. I think church and the junior league, which is a volunteer society, are where I have met the most outgoing people. There's also a lot of work events going on, and those usually through networking stuff have a lot of people whose job it is to network and get to know people and connect others. Okay, my next tip is that everyone wants to be seen. I operate under the assumption that everyone would like to be friends with me, that everyone wants to have a nice compliment, and everyone wants a bit of kindness in their life. 99% of the time, this is 100% true. I can't remember a time where I have offered a stranger a compliment, a bit of kindness, or a smile, and it has been poorly received. You can usually get a sense as to whether or not someone is more open to being interacted with. So if I'm at a coffee shop, you can usually tell what people are hyper-focused on work and what people are there to just kind of enjoy their coffee and have a relaxing Sunday morning. Do your best to kind of target your attention towards people who aren't stressed out on a deadline, because they may say hi and then just move on with their life, but you're probably not going to have any deeper interaction with that. If you would like to aim for more success, I would just say to kind of focus on people who already seem a little open. And when I see people out who pay me compliments, they give me a smile or they kind of engage a little bit in conversation with me, I try to reciprocate and add to that. If I see someone while I'm out and they give me a compliment, I don't just shrug it off. I say, "Thank you, that's so sweet of you. I really appreciate the compliment." I use it as a bridge to kind of engage in a little more conversation than I would otherwise. And I always see compliments, especially to other women, as an opportunity to make new friends. People are not as scary as you think, and you don't need any fancy kind of pickup line to make new friends at a bookstore. So the next time you see someone reading your favorite book at Starbucks, waddle over and tell them that book 2 was even better than the first one. Okay, so we have gotten to our actionable tips section. I guess it is all actionable tips, but these are some more concrete, easy things you can pick away at if some of the earlier parts of the video felt a little overwhelming. First, dress to impress. As you guys know, I always feel better when I'm wearing a cute outfit, and I just feel more myself, happier, and instantly more confident when I add a little sparkle to my persona. I've talked about in a previous video that I try to not leave the house without lipstick, meaning that I try not to leave the house unless I have done a little something extra to boost up my appearance. And it definitely helps you to feel more confident and to feel just cuter when you're walking around. The next actionable tip I have is to look people in the eye when you talk to them. If you're still feeling really shy, I know this is one of the harder things to do. It can be very intimidating to kind of stare at someone's soul through your eyes. Don't be so intense. Put a smile on your face and talk at people, but you want to look at someone's eyes because that's how people will connect with you. If I was talking to the camera like this and kind of looking off to the viewfinder and, trying to have a conversation with you guys this way, it wouldn't feel as engaged versus when I'm looking directly at you. And I have a little trick to do this. If you want to get better at looking at people directly when you talk to them, look right here, not directly in their eyeballs, but look right here as you're having a conversation. And to them, they'll think that you're looking right at their eyes, but for you, it can feel a lot less intimidating to look between someone's eyebrows than it is to gaze into their soul. Okay, so next tip would be to listen more than you talk, especially if you're talking to men and especially if you're a woman. I personally have struggled with this a lot growing up. If it's not clear, I have a lot of thoughts. Normally I rent them to the internet, but I always had trouble allowing people to finish their train of thought before interjecting. It has become a practice of mine to sit back and receive the stories that people have to share with me because I want them to feel respected and I want them to feel heard. I notice especially men have a harder time continuing the train of thought if you're constantly interjecting what they have to say. Women are better at these interjecting conversations, but still you want people to feel respected and heard, and you want to give yourself time to actively listen to what they're saying and to respond to what they have to say, not to share something about you that's kind of adjacent to their story. Your job is to connect with them and to connect with their experience and to make them feel heard, not to make the conversation about you. Alright, so my next tip is to keep things light and playful, and bonus points if you end up doing a little dance with yourself before you head out. Even before I film my videos, I always put on a fun, sexy playlist to kind of make me feel bubbly and happy. You want to set the tone for you to be your most authentic, bubbly, fun self when you step out into the world. Making friends sometimes can feel like work when you're really isolated, but it's meant to be fun, it's meant to be enjoyable getting to know other people and doing fun new activities, so allow yourself to play, let it be fun, and let it be easy. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any other suggestions, write them down in the comments box below. Good luck, and go off and be a social butterfly.